Get it up more and we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, we're live on the YouTube, so that's what matters.
Okay.
This one, it is what it is.
All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'll do the initial roll call here. Beckman is
Here.
Blessinger is missing. You know about Brian?
I haven't heard a word from him. I would assume that he's coming in.
Cummings is
Here,
here.
probably coming in. I say that because I think his son signed up for scholarship tonight.
Yes, there you go, yep.
I heard that through Paul Nesmer this morning.
Oh, okay.
Man is here. Maxie?
Here.
And Schnauz is here. Okay, we all received digital copies of the minutes. Does everyone have a chance to review those? Is it acceptable? And if so, ask for motion and second it. Approval.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I'll try not to steal too much of Travis's steam again this month. Last month, I think I took most of it, so I apologize for that. But Jay, Travis, and I did meet with OFS, and Phil filled in the details. We have a verbal agreement, which is good. It's basically tied to the same terms that we've had on the first two carpet hangers. So the rate is very acceptable. The only issue that came up is there's a shared apron that one of the other tenants uses. They bring their fuel truck in, and because of that, it's caused that apron to be in disrepair, plus the apron is 48 years old. So we have agreed, now again, it's up to the board to okay this, but we've agreed that if they fully maintain the building and get it in the shape it needs to be, we would take care of the cost of that, because again, they're not using it themselves, there are other people using it. And again, I'll let Phil go into those details when we get to that. And the other thing that's a little unique, they want a shorter term. They're comfortable that in 5 years, they're gonna build a new terminal on our property. So they just wanted a 3-year term with 1 3-year renewal option. So anyway, that's things are a little unique about that. Travis and I talked a little bit about this. Could you fill us in where you're at on the security system?
Yeah, so today we had Casebolt Electric stop by today, was evaluate. Okay, so first, this is back to say, we created an RFP with specifications, put that on the market of the 4 companies we identified here locally, sent that to them. They had some good positive, they had good feedback. I thought it was positive feedback to give us, okay, tweak this, modify that kind of thing. So we put that in a final wrap, kicked that out the door. Last week, we had one company come out and kind of evaluate, working on the bid. And then today we had Casebolt Electric stop by and go through the, what is it, or what is it, exact locations, okay, this pole or that pole, and all those kind of technical things. So
What kind of timeline do we have for giving them?
we give them till the next board meeting to have their bids to us.
Okay. We actually have the authority to move forward.
We do, yeah.
It's within 25,000.
Right.
That's fine. And I think we talked about a few times, that's time sensitive. We need to get that in, the cameras and security systems. That's good. Becky's gonna talk a little bit about, I hope I'm not jumping around too much. We've been talking for several months about what the State Board of Accounts, last meeting, you all signed a document that had to be filed with the county. But there was also some suggestions that we have internal documents that we just keep in our files here. You all had those digitally. I hope you've all read them. And Becky's gonna pass those around. I'm gonna let her fill in the details behind that, if you don't mind, Becky.
Okay. And Phil, I apologize, when I went back through to pick up your edits from earlier, I could not find them. I was So I will have that then, because we will start doing this the first meeting of or our first meeting in 2027. We'll make sure that we have this and we continue in that order then. But this is something we've chatted about for months now. The confidentiality policy and the conflict of interest. This is also something then with the explanation of these that will go in a binder then for new board members, new employees, that they have it all together. And then we can talk about this then too, on the state law that you have pulled up. So we will have this, like conflict of interest, that's just in the file. But when we run into something, then it goes to a little bit more detailed form. So, we could sign off on these and fill them out, sign off, and
I might fill in a little more, Becky, if you don't mind. My experience having served on several boards, most boards have these in place, and what it amounts to is you're telling Travis and me, and the board president, I guess, if you have a conflict of interest, what it is. So it's in advance of any discussion coming up, we know that, hey, in Brian's case, we know he's a tenant in one of the T hangars. If an issue comes up with T hangars, he would then excuse himself, say, well, at least I can't vote on that because he's a member, that he's a tenant. So that's what the conflict of interest is. It's telling us up front what conflicts you might have, just so we can administer that better than trying to guess what we might have. And the confidentiality, it's like most boards, yeah, we answer to the taxpayers, but there's a lot of things go on here in the airport that don't come up in the public meetings. We have a lot of carpet people that fly in and out of here, and that's not public information, and we hear about it. This is all common sense. We all know this. We all don't do this anyway, but there's a document now being put in place where we're signing saying, yeah, we know that, and we'll agree to hear to that. If we hear something that's not in the public meeting that shouldn't be given out to the community, we'll keep it to ourselves. So that's what the two documents are doing. And again, they're pretty standard. Every board I've served on, I've had to sign one of these every year, and it was kept in a file. So I appreciate Becky's work on this, and Phil's. I know that they both worked on these things quite a bit. So are there any questions?
Yeah, I think I mentioned the last time we talked about this is that the internal conflict of interest policy that you're thinking about adopting, that's separate apart from state law, which says that if a governmental employee or officer has a pecuniary interest in a transaction, then that is a conflict of interest, and they may not participate in the discussion of that particular transaction, and they must file that conflict of interest form that I sent you, and get the approval of whoever appointed them. Pecuniary interest is defined in Indiana law. It's pretty subjective, but it says it's any interest in which the intended result would increase in income or net worth, ascertainable income or net worth to the public servant or of any of his dependents, which includes spouse, child, stepchild, and adopted children under the age of 18, or for anyone for whom they furnish at least 50% of the support. So although you're adopting a policy, there's also a state law that's a little bit more stringent than yours. Just want to bring that to your attention because it doesn't absolve you from the state law conflict of interest reporting.
This did come up in the State Board of Accounts review. They didn't say we had to have our internal policy. They recommended it, but we weren't cited because we didn't have it. I suspect in 4 years when they come back, or whenever they come back, it could be next year if they come back, they'll be looking for it, because it did come up in the discussion. So again, it's common sense stuff, so.
Well, the conflict of interest doesn't mean you have to recuse yourself.
Not a conflict of interest, that's just.
Yeah, I mean, so like, there's lots of things that you can choose that you can acknowledge it and take it into account, but doesn't mean you have to, like if I own an airplane that is parked in the hangar 5 or whatever, and so then that would, the whole airport would be basically subject,
It's if you hear something,
yeah.
anything in the public meeting is public. So anything we talk about here can be discussed out, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Phil, but
I think Brian's asking about conflict of
The
interest.
conflict of interest
Not
and
confidentiality.
Not confidentiality. The confidentiality part is pretty straightforward. I don't think anybody has any issues with
There's a
that.
conflict of interest if the transaction is going to benefit.
A substantial benefit though, right? Like, I mean, there's transactions that occur.
I mean, it's just tangentially
Yeah,
going to benefit you, but if you're a tenant in the hangar, for instance,
Yeah.
you should not be voting on rate on the hangar rates. You should absolve yourself, recuse yourself from voting on hangar rates.
On any hangar rates though?
On the hangar rates that affect you.
Okay, because that'd be my concern, of course, is that suddenly then
No,
it's like all the hangars.
or
all
as
the
an
deals.
example is one we're gonna be talking about tonight. That I would think
I'm okay there.
you're okay there, because you're not part of that group at all.
Gotcha. Okay.
But when it comes to the T hangars or wherever you
Yeah.
are, and that's
Yeah.
where it would be an issue. And Rick, as an example, I think you parked your plane in OFS, that would probably say, hey, I probably shouldn't get involved in that final vote.
I haven't voted in any of those.
Yeah, and I know that, but tonight we're actually signing
That
off
was on
on it,
it,
we're
yeah.
actually voting, we've got a deal agreed to that.
I haven't voted on DCF and I
Okay.
won't vote on that. And I announced that before you were part of the board.
So again, it's common sense stuff,
Yeah.
you knew that ahead of time, we're just now putting it in our manual, in our book, that
I don't
anybody,
think you should have to recuse yourself from discussion, but you should recuse yourself from voting. I mean, Brian should have an opinion, but he's not voting, so his opinion essentially is mute at the time of his vote.
Phil, I don't know, you
Well,
have
I
an
know,
opinion on that?
essentially, these are public meetings, there are decisions that are made in public, and even though you are a public servant, you have an opinion, and you can express that opinion at meetings, even though you may have a conflict of interest, so long as that conflict of interest is made known to the other board members, and they can take that into consideration when they consider your comments. But you may not vote on the matter under consideration.
All right, thank you. I just know my last position I had, it was an elected position on a board of education, I had to leave the meeting.
Some boards are more stringent than others, some are more.
If I was a banker at the time, and if they come and vote on investments in a bank, I was asked to leave the meeting. So that was my last school board position. I don't know.
That's a
Sounds like-
that's a pretty big deal.
I guess it was, I don't know. Any other discussion? Do we need a motion on? Phil?
There's a part here that says that it was approved by the Dubois County.
Is this significant edits at one point, those don't include my edits, right?
That's what I'm saying is,
Okay, so we probably, I don't get those back to you.
it was to the explanation that I had.
Yeah.
This is actually just the, well,
Oh,
you
okay.
see it here.
I guess, it appears to be, if there's conduct that is contrary to this policy, but there's not really a policy here. This isn't really a policy. So if we need to have references to the Indiana code,
And
the
whatever,
types
the other
of
one, federal,
interests
one
that
was
was
federal,
state
one was
constitution,
state.
Just a state,
following the same.
state law involving public servants and their conflict of interest.
I think it's a great thing to do, just to, to sort of, predisclose any arrangements. I was always kind of under the impression that the disclosure was required if the situation came up.
That's the law.
Where you had a conflict of interest, you would be required to disclose that.
That is state law.
So-
What we're doing is expanding that, saying, let's let everybody know in advance. So when an issue comes up, there's no debate, oh, wait a minute, you can't.
I guess since that's already in place, I would question why we wouldn't go to at least that standard or beyond that standard, or else we don't need, it's already there.
This is what I had drawn up and Phil put all his edits in,
Hmm.
that to be put in a binder explains the procedure of why we're doing this.
That's a problem.
Yeah. This is what I couldn't find today. I was spending that an hour looking for it, so, okay.
Yeah, because I think that this would be approved in conjunction with that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if that's a matter, we'll just say for next month then, or whatever, so I can get all this redone.
And that's a good point, and if everybody's more comfortable seeing the supporting data to these documents, there's no reason we can't wait till next month to actually adopt them. What's the feeling? Becky, is that what you prefer?
That's fine.
So we'll just hold off till next month, and, yeah, I got ice cream everywhere.
What's the,
Root beer and ice cream is not good, it just kind of flows over.
I don't think I'm clear on why we're waiting. What was the question you had?
I don't have the final policy yet. We have our original draft, I think is what we have.
Oh, without your edits.
I had made some edits, and elaborating a little bit on some things. And I'd like to add a paragraph that says it doesn't satisfy Indiana law for conflict of interest. That
Sure.
Those are different requirements, and I can even summarize it in the policy.
That sounds fair, let's clean it up so that when we do something, it really should be signed the first meeting of each year, so at the end of the year, everybody knows what's going on.
That's
We're
correct.
behind, we're behind the eight ball at this point, a little late. So we would do this again every January meeting, go through this same, sign the same document, going forward.
I also had, if we have a new employee soon, it's on this, that's ready for them to sign off on and all that, so.
That leads to my next comment. Becky, Travis and I reviewed numerous, we're thinking probably in excess of 50 job applications. It was amazing to me. Now, I'm comfortable with the number of those people had to apply for a job just to keep getting some sort of benefits. And they knew they weren't gonna get approved because they didn't qualify for the job. But we did review a bunch of applications. We whittled it down to, we met on Monday and whittled it down to the final four. And we decided we would interview all four of those people. We did interview 4 people on Friday. It was basically an all-day meeting. We started at 8:30 in the morning and finished up at about 5:15 Friday evening. We haven't, Travis did the background checks on the gentleman that the 3 of us felt was the best candidate. And we had, of those 4 candidates, we had 3 very qualified candidates after interviewing them.
That's great.
And so we chose the one. I don't know if you're completely done with background checks yet, so we're maybe not ready to announce that person. But hopefully this weekend we'll have Steve's replacement on board. And because Steve keeps saying he's gonna retire at the end of the month, and that month has moved a couple of times, so.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. All right, Travis, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, all right. I'll be fast because Ally is ready to go too. I just want to say, I want to recognize Sandy Allmeyer for that wonderful tacos.
Absolutely.
Ken, did you get some?
I passed. Thanks.
Well, why did you do that?
What do you think? I passed.
Those are low calorie.
No, it had nothing to do with California.
Oh, you're calling me this year. Anyways, the root beer floats were great. Thank you, Sandy Allmeyer, for helping us with that and all the great work she does for us. Frustrated lightning strike, I think I said this earlier, well, I said it to some others privately. Today we did get the actuators plugged in and operational, and the keypad and the safety and the fobs and all this is all working just as of today. So to let you know,
That's a result of our lightning strike.
That's a result of lightning strike. Yep, point number 2 right there. Yep. So the follow-up to that is today I spoke with the electrical contractor who did all our installation for the poles and things like that. And they're of the opinion that they're gonna pull the pole out here and replace the whole pole. There's some question from their supplier of, well, did it sustain, some damage we can't see or assess from the ground and everything else. So this pole's gonna come out, it's gonna delay us a little bit in getting that back up. I don't know what the lead times are, but we did have that conversation today as well. So Ken's already mentioned the security system. I give you guys a brief on that. We talked about the 24th versus the 25th. It sounds like that's concurrence right now. I'm seeing and hearing from everybody. And did we decide a departure time?
We'll say 3:30.
3:30 on the 24th, okay. All right, that's good. We talked about Sandy. Oshkosh, just great experience. Maybe some more stuff to follow up there shortly, but the question was point blank asked, do you have room for this piece of flying equipment they had? I said, yes. They said, you got room for like 10, 12 engineers? And I said, yes, I was thinking the old term building. So don't know what that might not turn into, but it's always exciting when you get somebody that seems like they're very serious. But I've been down this road before and get all excited and to not, but still though. Stuff, ribbon cutting 31st, 9 a.m. till 10 a.m. is the schedule right now. And that'll be getting pushed further out in the next week here. But you got the budget presentation tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Sorry, Rick, that's why we couldn't roll tomorrow, but that's in the courthouse annex building there, Jason, on the east side of the courthouse. Anybody wants to come out and show your support, that'd be great. School starts tomorrow, Wednesday. I think Dustin said that we'll have 26 new students here. So my number was corrected today. So 26 new students coming to the aviation program. Well, that's juniors. I think we got 15 in the morning class and 11 in the afternoon class. So I think that's it. Any questions on any of that? If not, I would like to turn it over first to Mr. Ryan. Ryan's with the Boy Scouts of America, and I'll let you just kind of open it up from there.
Sure, all right. As Travis said, Ryan Abbott with Buffalo Trace Council, Scouting America. And what we have, I think I spoke with it probably 2-3 years ago. I think I was here and talked about maybe starting an Explorer Post. Still near and dear to my heart, still want to do it. Knowing that there's 26 kids from the county that will be here, learning about all things aviation. And a little bit about myself. I got into aviation as a scout, doing something similar to what I'm passing out to you today, which is about spring camporee here at the airfield, where it's all aviation. So an aviation merit badge. I don't want to take a look, see. That myself, I earned it as a 16-year-old in Scouts back in 1997, and that's what actually put me on the path to join the Air Force eventually. So, 19-year vet of the United States Air Force. Thank you. And what got me into it really was this event. What we'd like to do is on the premises, Friday through Sunday, spring camporee. So the dates we're looking at currently are April 30th through May 2nd. You can see there's kind of the idea of, I took some stuff from different councils, 2 of them that this year had put one on, and these are some of the ideas that I came up with after looking at their schedules. We'd have different stations around. We'd also ask for help from, any of our partnership, Big Five, as well to help with this. I've even heard that I think Best Chairs has a hot air balloon with their logo on the side. So that being the case, all things aviation to include UAS, use of the simulator, bringing in state police, possibly the Air National Guard, Army National Guard. Actually, I have a contact with the Coast Guard about possibly getting them here as well. Really excited. It's what got me into aviation as a kid. And I think, it may very well open up an avenue for a whole bunch of other youth. So Travis and I looked at the property. I figured we could easily place 300 folks here on the property in tents. But maybe more, I don't know, maybe, we take a look at it again as to what we want to open it up to. The idea is we open it up first to Buffalo Trace Council youth.
And from there, I have a feeling that it will be probably pretty close to max with just Buffalo Trace Council, but then we open it up to the surrounding area, which they don't get a chance to the first year to get in. So obviously prioritizing our own youth in the area first for an event such as this. When I went through my spring camporee as a scout, we actually developed an Explore post thereafter. So my goal is to hopefully be able to do just that. It sparks enough interest in some youth in aviation that they are more than willing and wanting to do an Explore post. So you have 26 students here. I'm sure there's probably more than that that actually probably apply to get into the program here. But this may be another avenue for them to get, exposure to what it is to be in the air. So questions?
What all part of the airport would you use?
That's a good question. So, we looked at a whole bunch of different space, that you guys have, even all the way over to where the range is, even that, you have that, what is that, is it Huntingburg, Police Department that uses it? Correct. So all the way over there, we even looked at space, if that's where we need to, put some scouts or put vehicles or something of that nature. The logistical piece of finding out where everybody will go, will be, a little bit of a task myself, probably working with Travis to make sure it makes sense. The protocols that we have in place for adult leadership and how close, and where the kids can be, if they're opposite sex even, and how they have to be spaced out even, would all be things that we have to consider. So plenty
It would
for,
not affect our air flight,
no,
anyway.
no, it would not. So, no, our airport would operate as normal. Even thought the idea of, maybe using Hangar 5 to a movie night. Not going to say we're going to use Top Gun or Top Gun 2, but, an aviation themed movie for the scouts as opposed to their normal campfire routine on a Saturday night. So, trying to, if you will, just drive home aviation. So,
What was the date again?
April 30th and May 1st and 2nd.
So, restroom facilities are really just the porta johns?
3 different contracts with our council, and I'm based out of Evansville, actually live in Petersburg, but we have different contracts around the council that we use for porta potties. So,
And if we talked about campsite fires, is that an issue or not?
Yeah, we'll work on
Okay.
containing a ring and things like that. So
Yeah.
basically just.
So I would imagine each troop or patrol or whatever is going to want to have a campsite and perhaps a fire.
Perhaps.
Is that an
perhaps.
issue? I mean, I know we had that with the eclipse. We were concerned about camping and fires and things like that.
So it's nothing for us to say
Something to
no fires are
consider.
allowed either. So there was talk of, do we allow the kids to cook on their own in their sites, which we look to cater the event as well. So if we allow them, if we do a catering, of which we have 3 different caterers we use out of Jasper, we could easily find ourselves in a position where there's not as much time needed for them to go back to their sites and then figure out what they're gonna cook their meal and everything else and go back to. So they'll actually be spending more time, petting the aircraft, if you will. So that's my goal anyhow, is give them as much time as they can, sniffing the fumes, touching the planes, the air balloons, the UAS, whatever it may be. I've got a lot of interest already amongst some of my volunteers. I've got 3 people that have volunteered to sit on the committee with me from our council to put together, which for me is huge because I haven't got approved yet. So usually the other way around. So yeah, I think this would be a great event, and I think this is the prime location for it to happen.
If it wasn't for being across the runway and taxiway, all that field space over there would be pretty ideal for some of that camping stuff. But I guess you can work out the logistics of that going around, because you do have a path to go around the runway.
Right.
Tunnel,
We initially just
you
looked
don't
at
dig
the
around.
grassy area between this building and the T hangars, because it's nice wide.
Plenty,
view.
yeah.
Initially.
I mean, I don't know, if you're the airport manager, I would be okay with a motion that gave you the leeway to Bill's point with regard to safety and liability and whatnot, for what we're allowed to do. And
I like the concept and nothing else, it's promoting the airport and letting more people know what's going on over here. So that part I like, you're right. Where are we protecting?
We're gonna get in the
liabilities?
weeds of all of that, or we can make a motion to empower Travis to work with Ryan to ensure
And
a safe.
And Phil.
Well,
Yeah, lawyer. and-
Bill, there's probably some insurance, documents.
Ryan and I addressed that issue.
Yeah, we already carry a $1 million policy. We, everywhere we go, everything we do end up with a certificate of insurance that we provide for
Yeah.
everybody.
I
That
think we
covers everything that
put
we do.
our insurance on notice to hosting this, not necessarily sponsoring it, but hosting it.
so
I like your suggestion though, Rick, to just,
what would the motion sound like, Phil?
Well, I would, at this point, I'd authorize Travis to proceed with logistical planning. I think it ultimately needs to come back to you when you have nailed down the sites and some of these other issues, the actual sites, and the other issues regarding fires. And I can't imagine what else, but I'm sure there are other issues.
We give them permission to move forward, is what you're saying,
Yeah.
but not finalize it until it comes back to us beforehand. And we know exactly what's gonna happen.
But you're gonna start registration pretty soon, it looks like.
That's the goal, is to start soon, yes. Yep. They're already starting to plan out their entire calendar year, the troops. So if I put this on their radar now, they'll definitely more likely not make their calendar, so.
Cool.
Well, I would recommend authorizing Travis to proceed with logistical planning on it, subject to approval, subject to not being anything that would be injurious or jeopardize the safety of the airport and airport property. So you just have to work those things out, come back and report it back to the board.
I would think as far as moving forward,
That's my motion.
it's likely not,
Steve got that.
I'll second that motion.
it's likely not to stop the transaction, but we may come back and say, you can't
Yeah.
do this or you can't do that. But I sense we're okay with going ahead to planning and assume you're gonna be able to do it as long as you guys can work out the logistic issues that you bring back to us for final approval. I know we already got a motion to that effect, so I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion?
Alright.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Anything else, Ryan?
And no, for me, that's thank you. You'll hear from me again. I mean, I've got a lot of plans and pokers in the fire, a lot of people on standby for this until tonight, so it'll be great news to share with them, and I'm sure that ball's gonna get rolling real quick, so.
I have a separate question. The Civil Air Patrol, it's not affiliated. Are you familiar with it?
I'm
And
very familiar with CAP. Actually, one of the committee members for this committee that's in scouting is actually the head of the CAP in Owensboro. So,
Okay.
yes, the Scouting America's Explorer Posts partner with CAP
okay,
as well. So that's an option for us going forward, is maybe looking to use the CAP that is
yes,
2 years old here. maybe?
they're pretty active, I think. I see them
Year-
at the
2 years
Bombers
old now?
games and
Oh,
different stuff.
they're older than that, I think.
At
CMB.
least 2 years.
Yeah.
At least 2 years,
At least 2 or 3 years.
So they weren't yet when I came in to talk about Explorer Posts before, so, but definitely, I mean, I've got all their contact information.
Well, they would probably be willing to help with the
Yes,
event.
yes, in
right?
fact, one of the merit badge requirements actually specifically speaks to CAP, so.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Ryan.
Cool, thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
You're welcome to hang out, get yourself a root beer float, you know. Just saying.
I stay away from river photos, so they look really
I will tell you why. All right, Ally, thank you for your patience. You've been waiting there kindly for us. We're gonna put you up.
Got a few things. We'll start with the CIP that's coming up. That's due in October. We're gonna have the draft ready for you guys in September and ready to coordinate with Travis up to that point. What we're showing with CIP right now is for 2027, the design and environmental for the runway 97 we have. And then that's followed up with bidding and construction the next year. Alpha 1 land acquisition in 29 and rehab design in 29 with finishing construction in 30. So that's what we're showing now. We'll get that, we'll get to you guys about that in September again. And next up, we had the NDOT statewide pavement maintenance grant. I know it's been discussed in a couple of different Indiana events. It's a 75-25 state and local grant for pavement maintenance projects. It can be used for like crack sealing or seal coat, equipment materials, anything like that. So if you guys haven't heard about it, if you're interested in pursuing it, we can help you get a pre-approval request. And then if it gets approved, we can help you with procurement of equipment and bids and all that good stuff. FAA program manager updates. There's been a lot of movement and a lot of new staff at the Chicago ADO lately. So Deb Bartel and Rob Esquivel, they've moved posts. So your 2026 FAA contact is going to be Riley Molina. She's been with FAA at the Chicago ADO for 2 to 3 years. She's really nice. I've met her a couple times and I've heard really great things about her. The proposed cell tower airspace, Chris Snyder talked to Travis for the recommendation to decline the request for the tower at this location due to potential impacts to airspace and the reduction of approach minimums. And then the state's corridor, there was a request for information for future runway development by the lot group, and Wolbert responded and we provided them the ultimate 6,000 foot RC information. For the terminal building construction, updates and schedule, the project is currently in the final phases. We're reviewing wells, closeout docks, and their punch list items. There's still progress being made, chipping away, trying to finish this thing up. There's just a couple items left with the room 107 for replacement of the exterior door. Doors on site, it's not in yet. The resealing and repair of the Boolean columns, that was tested today. I haven't actually seen how that went yet, but I will talk to Curtis when I talk to him again. We'll get back to you guys on that. The contractor is going to attempt to sand greasing the wood landing to remove the lip. They're going to replace the diaphragm on the toilet to allow for higher flow and self-cleaning, and then the bathroom signage still needs to be installed. But all of the other punch list items have been completed and accepted. The building's been substantially complete and beneficially occupied, and Wolbert recommends issuing a certificate of substantial completion so that the warranty period can get started. We would need board approval and signatures on the certificate for that.
All right, Ally, we do not have that document in physically here with us. Is that something that we could maybe push to next month?
Well, you could approve it.
Oh, Phil's saying we could approve
You
it.
could approve the certificate of substantial completion, but I guess Wolper could email you the actual certificate, would have to be signed by the appropriate officers.
Okay.
A substantial completion just means you, based upon engineers' recommendations, the property, the project is substantially complete and worthy of you taking possession of it. And we've been in possession of it for 4 months now.
But she's saying for purposes of starting the warranty.
That's correct.
So it would
And
be,
the contractor is saying, hey, let's give us a certificate of substantial completion. You guys have been in possession for 4 months now. We want to start the warranty period.
some of the stuff that they have said they were gonna do, are they still coming back to do that?
So like Ally said, today they did the testing on the blue lamp beams where they had put basically a seal coat on that. And so that shows promise. It's not complete. It's not been absolutely completed. So they're still working through that. But yeah, today there was test done on that.
And there's money being withheld for final payment on all these punch list items.
Right.
I think about 200% of the estimated cost to complete these punch list items are being withheld. Is that correct? That's what the contract called for,
Yeah.
200%.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in no rush to start the warranty period. What? I mean, your storage, none of your storage rooms are your storage rooms that they were gonna come back and dispose of that stuff. And, you know, I've been down this road. When you say you're done, then now you're gonna be dealing with it. So you know, whatever the board wants to do is fine. They should do what they say they're gonna do.
Kind of a you're done when you're done kind of guy.
Right.
Are you done?
Right. Do you have anything else, Ally? Payment or anything?
I've got. The only other thing I have that needs board approval would be the pay application 18 for, among others, pay application 18. We recommend approval by the board.
And I apologize, I didn't print that report out, Ally, so can you tell the board how much that dollar amount is for?
Oh, yeah, that's, $144,943.23.
And what's that?
Number 18 from Weddle Brothers.
Okay. That's still part of the project.
Still part of the project, yeah.
I don't think it's part of what he's saying is still withheld, right?
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay, I'll ask for a motion to recommend that we allow the payment of application 18 for $124,923.23.
144?
144.
144.
It's 144.
Yeah.
Can we read that number?
Nice try, Kenny.
144.
I was trying to read right as she's talking, so I obviously missed that.
What was the number? 144?
923.
144, 943.23.
Okay, I'll ask again, Rick.
I'll make that.
Jay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
What else, Ally?
We're programming grant applications for 2027. So it's AIP 31, Wilbur Construction Services for phase 2 of the terminal, and then AIP 32, which is construction of terminal site. Both grants are moving forward to final programming this week. AIP 21, that was taxiway alpha metals design. Wilbur resubmitted the FAA closeout paperwork at FAA request. Closeout is pending. Construction for that project, which is AIP 23 and 24. No update, awaiting FAA closeout paperwork. And same thing for AIP 17 and 18, which is runway 27 extension. We're still waiting on FAA closeout paperwork. And that is all that I have.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for pinch hitting for us here. Chris wasn't available, Kurt or just wasn't available. Oh yeah, Nick wasn't available too. Yeah. So thank you, Ally.
No problem.
All right. Well,
Thank you guys.
you're welcome to hang on. You can take off to whatever you want to do. That's up to you. I was gonna pick up a little bit of comment on what she was talking about. There's some of those AIP 17 and 18 and 21 and 23 and blah, blah, blah. That's what we just went through our last audit for. So some of that stuff's so silly that you have to close some of that paperwork out, but whatever, it's where it goes.
Okay.
All right, I'm done there.
I'm gonna back you up a little bit. You talked about what your success in Oshkosh. Are you working with the local Lido as well, Brian?
Yeah, on a separate,
Well,
Yeah,
was
separate
that
project.
both of them?
Yeah, so we, IEDC and the Iconic Development Corporation. Did I ever say this before? I thought I did.
Last month.
You did last Friday.
Oh, I did last Friday?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, so there was a project that came from IDC, it's called Project Flux, and short version, very long story, is it appears to be an aircraft propeller manufacturer. And you know, these come out, these are pretty regular, and you know, you get best pitch, put your best foot forward, and you submit. Mike was in that role before, can tell you way more experience than I can, but I used to get all excited about it. But anymore, I just put my best foot forward and don't get too excited about it anymore, right? I tell you that, it's fair.
It's really competitive with site, site selection, but it's really just eliminating sites till they get down to what fits their criteria. So
Yep.
You're in there as long as until you have some part of your, some characteristic of your thing that kicks you out of that process, and they just keep whittling down their list until they find the right spot. So it's hard down here. We are competing against Indianapolis and all those donut counties all the time, especially for manufacturers. They got to go where people are and everything. So it's a tough road to hoe. Trying to compete with some of those counties, or other municipalities that have, throwing tax credits and tax abatements. Had they have industrial parks, and we, that's what we tried to set up here also. So, we'll catch one day maybe, but it's hard to statewide because they just gave it to IEDC and they just kick it out to everybody. That's every airport or whatever.
My question was, is the local economic development corporation, can they help in any fashion, and should they be involved?
I think they have to submit it.
Yeah, they had to.
So the way it is, yeah, they have to be involved in that way. Yeah, but hopefully they have some information, or we would probably have to prepare the information.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Phil?
Just as we previously reported, we met with representatives of OFS Holdings Brands to renegotiate their lease. The lease expires at the end of this month. They've agreed to the same rate that Best Air is paying, $4.42 per square foot per year. That puts them at $28,730 a year based upon a 6,500 square foot hangar. There's a 2.5% per year escalator, just like Best Chairs. As Kim mentioned, they only want a 3-year term with one option to renew for additional 3-year term. They believe within 5 years, they would like to either be building a new hangar on the airport premises, or if another larger, more modern hangar becomes available, they would like to enter into negotiations for the lease of that. So with that, they've also asked for the ability to terminate the lease early if they in fact do build a new hangar on the premises, or they lease a replacement hangar on the airport property. Those same terms were included in Dubois County Flight Services lease. And finally, it's a triple net lease, the same format that we used with Dubois County Flight Services and Best Air. There's some minor changes that they wanted that are more peculiar to their operations, but nothing substantial. But with that, I think that the board would need to approve these basic terms for the lease to move forward with preparing the lease and having it signed.
Could you give that amount again?
It is $4.42 per square foot per year, which would be $28,730 a year. The square footage is 6,500. The building is 6,500 square feet.
About $10,000.
It's about $10,000 more than they're paying now. It may be a little more, 10,000.
Yeah.
A little bit help. So the apron situation would be separate?
Yeah, that is separate. That apron is 48 years old, and it is, as Travis has indicated, it is a shared apron used a lot by Kimball for their fuel trucks to come in and replenish the fueling station, Kimball's fueling station.
So if you remember.
It has done significant damage to the apron. I think they've determined it's 6 inches concrete, or initially maybe 4 inches. But it's cracking up, and it does potentially present a hazard to the aircraft that may get parts of concrete, loose concrete, sucked into the engine or whatever. And it needs to be replaced. Our thought is to talk to Kimball about that and also explore. We just heard about the potential NDOT grants, 75-25.
That was a question I had.
This may not apply or may not be qualified for that grant, but that's something to explore. But we had, assuming that this lease is approved, I think Travis, Jay, Ken and I acknowledge that would probably be the airport's responsibility to get that repaired.
So if you remember, 1978, Kimball was their first hangar down in the airport. East side of that hangar is where the fuel farm is for Kimball's underground 50,000 gallon fuel tank. That is above what we're talking about here. So that's why we have this logistical nightmare where the semi trucks are coming through there to deliver fuel, the original fuel tank from 1978 or whatever time period back in the 70s they put that in. And then it's
Even
pumped.
though its pump is on the west
Yeah, I
side.
got you. I was picturing that and I could not figure out why this would be causing a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's legit. And it's like, so yeah, that's the backstory.
And that apron wasn't constructed to support that kind of weight, as I understand.
Yeah.
Loaded fuel truck.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to verify we
If
figured that
we
out.
tear it up, is the tank safe? Do we tear it up, and does the tank need to be, how old is the tank? What's the?
The tank's not under the apron, is it, or is it?
It's underneath, well, it's not under the apron. It's not. It is under, there's a designated area that is.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we don't build this beautiful new concrete pad and
Then
then,
you have to tear it out.
and then it's.
Tear it up.
It's like between the parking and it's at the corner or something
Yes.
of the.
Having heard that, is there any other questions for Phil on contracting? No?
I think I like the fact that if they bring down, that if they get out, if they break their lease early, it specifically would have the requirements that they're building a new facility here, which would be good for the airport, or they're taking over a facility that was either turning over to be vacant or was vacant at the time.
Right.
So all of those sound very positive for the airport. So we don't have dilapidating buildings because we don't want to be maintaining these big hangars if there's no tenant in them. Because worse than not getting rent for the hangar is not getting rent and maintaining the hangar. So those are big buildings with big mechanical stuff that we don't want to pay for.
Exactly.
And they're willing to make an investment in that,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, thanks to the committee there.
Yeah.
Looks good to me.
Seems like a plan.
We met with him several times. It didn't start off at this end. There was some negotiation happened.
Yeah.
Need a motion if anybody's willing to make that motion.
I'll make the motion to approve those terms that Phil outlined.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
You guys are next.
So I do have a question about if they leave,
OFS.
if OFS leaves that hangar, even though I have no dog in the race right now, I'm subleasing from OFS. Kylie and I would like the opportunity to lease that hangar. How do I go about that?
Yeah, we would open it up for, to see what kind of interest there is. Anybody that's got an interest could negotiate with the airport for the lease of the property.
As Brian just said, we don't want it sitting empty, so.
Yeah, obviously, why don't we get it leased?
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, on the other hand, we could just come up with a rate, Rick, and okay, you're on one half and somebody else shares the other half, right?
Sure.
And you guys both eat the cost of
Yeah.
utilities. And-
We just don't wanna not
Yeah,
have.
you don't wanna have, looking for the, yeah.
So,
We won't throw you out on the street.
Be nice, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Ally texted me, let's go back to the subject matter of the, was it, Ally, substantial completion? Is that what your words you used?
Yeah, and the certificate of substantial completion.
Certificate of substantial completion. You're asking on behalf of Wolford, that the building is ready for that, but that's contingent upon the board approving that recommendation. Is that correct?
That is correct.
It is hard, I agree, it's hard to cinch that warranty period, like, especially that glue lamp issue. It's unresolved. We don't know how the testing went, like, why would we start the process?
Another 30-day period, to your point, if we kick this to September, since we had passed by, I was just gonna ask you after the meeting, can we get with them and ask whoever's responsible for, letting us have our storage, rooms, because we are substantially complete, but we're not occupying all the spaces because we're still fumbling around stuff that's not supposed to be in your all's way. And we're just working around it the best we can, even though we were told that it was gonna be moved out of our way. And I know how this goes. I've dealt with it on a dozen or more, different occasions with what we do. And so people just start leaving and, well, that was their job. Well, that was their job. Well, it's not mine. It's not yours. So. And I think that could be resolved before the next meeting. And one more month, I wouldn't think is gonna be that big of a deal for starting a warranty period. But if you feel differently, then I'm happy to.
What does it do for them outside of just starting the warranty period? Doesn't do much.
Well, it entitles them to the balance of the payments that are due to them, less 200% of the estimated cost of the punch list items. So the engineer determines what 200% of the estimated cost of the punch list items is, and they make a pay application for the final pay without that retainage. I don't know how serious the glue lamp issue is, but I guess if that is a serious issue, that might be a reason
It's a
to,
very serious issue.
that
It's
might be a
water
reason
issue
to.
inside the building.
Yeah, withhold substantial completion, I don't know.
Multiple spots,
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Again, we generally rely on your engineer for recommendations on that.
Right.
So did you capture all that, Ally?
Yeah, I got most of that.
Okay. So the short version is, next month, we would probably give it some really heavy consideration.
If we can get some resolution
Until we
to,
get,
Yeah, what all the test results from the testing they did today and everything.
Yeah.
I would feel a lot better.
Yeah, it would have been nice, one board member just said that the test results of the water test from today would have been nice to have, to be able to kind of gauge, kind of how the glue lamp is going on, and so maybe kick it out one more month.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
What's
Thanks.
in the storage room?
Thanks again, Alan.
Yeah, thank you.
all three storage rooms have just paint and supplies and stuff that's supposed to be, they were gonna move it out.
Rick's right, all the contractors started bailing, and then it's like, all the stuff sitting there. Rick's not.
I would load it up and move it just so that, Travis and Andy and everybody could have use of the room, but they told them that they would take care of it. So,
Well, Ally, tell them to come get their stuff.
Phil, anything else?
That's all I have.
There are other business that we haven't talked about from any board members? Anything from the
The claims,
Visitors?
we'll do claims first.
No, you're right. We all had an opportunity to review the claim register this evening for the meeting. Is there any questions? All the bills are paid?
I'll move to approve the claims as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second that. Got many bills. Well, here.
All right, well, I call for a vote, and all those in favor of the motion, aye? Any opposed? Okay, now we're down to the floor open visitor. Have any issues from our visitors?
So we were just gonna check in and see where we were on the docket.
First,
You're next, let's go that way.
So we got a little feedback last meeting about, the rate and looking at the rate we offered versus what you're signing with OFS and DCFS and everything. And trying to compare the two. We ran all of our numbers based on your T-hanger rate, because that's how we compare our building. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't have planes here. If you want to, after the meeting, I can go open my hangar, open the big door, you guys can walk in, check it out. My plane's not in there, it's at angle, so check it out. And then walk down to maybe Brian's hangar is empty right now, I think John's flying.
They're flying right now, I think. Yes.
So that's a very comparable hangar to mine. Essentially the same size. We can talk about door sizes and heights and everything, but you can gauge then on a comparison. I think Ken went in the DCFS hangar whenever that was going on. So that'll give you a better idea of why we're comparing it to the T hangar versus a corporate hangar. The big things are just the hangar style, but the size and type of aircraft you can store in it is probably the biggest difference between a corporate hangar and our hangar building. Even the end, that's the big box hangar, it has a 44-foot door, which won't fit. There's a King Air 90 over in hangar 5. Like that will not fit in our largest hangar, not even really that close. So I can go down and open my door. I actually have a key to Brian's hangar for some reason. Brett's coming, I'll go. But we can open that door.
Everyone has a key to our hangar.
They're all labeled Brett Stefano. But
everybody knows where ours is hidden.
we can open both doors, and if you guys want to just take a look before you start talking about it, just so you can gauge, where we came from with our comparison with your T hangar. That'll give you guys a better idea, a better starting point to the discussion.
So was your rate somewhere in between?
Our rate, we
Somewhere north of T hangar, but somewhere south of
so we took
corporate?
the T hangar rate, and if we do a triple net lease, and we
yeah.
take care of maintenance.
Right,
We ask for a discounted rate from your T hangar,
Sure.
you're paying that.
Yeah.
So, I think it'd be good for
It would
everybody.
be a visual.
It'd be a visual, you can take a look and you can say, okay, this hangar versus you're charging a rate for your hangar, and you can see what you think about the differences between your hangar and our hangar.
I
So,
don't see a problem with that. What we found most successful in all these so far is we'll sit down, Jay and I and Travis and Phil just sit down and start talking, because try and do it in public meetings or even have attorneys talking back and forth, it's just not ever gonna get anything done.
and I just thank you guys for your knowledge of, these guys built it 26 years ago, and really, no one's needed to go in there, and they've been a pretty quiet tenant for 26 years, so now that we're talking about comparing it and rates to other hangars, you should probably look at the two.
Mhm.
And
Might be good to look at,
your own hangars
Right,
as well.
right. Like I said, I kind of,
Some of the board members get down there to look at these hangars. And it might be a good idea to look and see what we're all talking about.
It'll give you a reason on how the rates were ever set, when you see that. Because we're talking, for the most part, the same kind of square footage. And with your hangars, you're taking care of everything. And with the hangars we're in right now, we're taking care of all the expenses, got a roof coming up. For John and I, we're kind of crazy to even get involved because of our age. But willing to make the investment, and then it remains just as is. You're gonna get a monthly, whatever, quarterly, however you can pay it, yearly, probably, for most of us.
so the offer's there to walk down tonight and look at both buildings if you want to,
Or anytime.
anytime really, but
We're out here a lot, and, you know, we had, after Travis's, can't remember the name of the meeting, but the big meeting we had at the airport
The aviation Indiana.
in the state,
Yeah.
I had about 6 or 8 people come down and poke around in all the hangars, and they spent a couple of hours actually, but I didn't see any board members. So we just want to open make an
We stayed for the rest of the conference.
open invitation, right, I understand. But, you know, and you got a great excuse not to do it tonight because it's 95 degrees out there.
Yeah.
But we'd be happy to show you around at any time. So,
If we continue the same committee, yeah, I'd want to see it before we make a decision, no question. And that's a good point. We should compare it to the T hangars because I've not been on those either personally.
Remember, the reason we're saying the T hangars here, because we're here on property, not any other airport, right here.
that's what we base our numbers on.
Yeah, I think it's a different type of this building than the, the open corporate hangars, big doors and everything. And so, I wouldn't think that the same value would necessarily be applied there.
Like I said-
I'm curious, how it would come out, it's possible that our T hanger rates, if they're, I don't know how, I haven't done a comparison in a little while, how they compare to other airports around, but I mean, people always say other airports around are lower rates wise. What if it's hurting to use our rate as the benchmark, and we're looking for more of a assessed value or market rate appraisal? I'm curious how that would come out for that building. Because I think what we've done so far has been for not a comparable building. So we don't have anything. Right.
Yeah, like I said, I'm happy to open everything up. I can walk down and open both buildings, no problem. And I don't have a plane in mind right now, hopefully maybe Wednesday, when we get it back. And John's out flying tonight, so those are very comparable hangars. They're end units that have a little extra space on the side. We both have similar things in there, a refrigerator and a desk or something. Very similar units.
Or down there if you guys are available.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, you guys finish your meeting and,
I wanna see him, I can't do it tonight.
yeah, anytime,
If we can make arrangements with John.
anytime.
You know where to find me.
Yeah, our
But I'd like to.
Our keys all work, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody that wants to go tonight, I'll stick around after the meeting, walk down there with you, and anybody that wants to go any other time, just get a hold of any one of us. And you can-
No, it's 100 degrees outside. I'll probably drive over there, but
Rolling it down. Yeah, we walk.
that's okay. I'll probably drive. Thank you. Anything else? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job, everyone. See you next month.
So we